Alright, Dragonic Empire is next. In my honest opinion, this is pretty much the most overhyped of all of the nations. And it doesn't help that the new protagonist is using this particular nation. Let's get this over with. Alright, in my honest opinion, there's a lot of clans that I don't like. Shadow Paladins I talked about last week is one of them. But then there's Kagero. And Kagero's hatred is not because of the clan itself, although I do believe that Bushiroad should be at fault for this too. But it's the fans. It's the players. Technically speaking, the overlords. Like, fuck you guys, dude. Seriously. Like, if I had to choose any unit in the game that had to be the Karen of Cardfight Vanguard, it's definitely Overlord. Like, he has so many forms. Even Freeze is telling him to stop it. Get some help. Like, every single time Kagero gets support, it doesn't need another form of Overlord. Like, how many forms are you going to give Overlord? Dragonic Overlord, Dragonic Overlord the Great, Dragonic Overlord the Cross, Dragonic Overlord the End, Dragonic Overlord the Roundabout, Purge, Destiny, Rebirth, all that other stuff. Why does he need so many forms? Nobody asked for all these other versions of Overlord. Why does he need all of them for no apparent reason? And then the sad thing is, he gets so many forms, and it gets up to the point where you don't necessarily have a reason to use anything in Kagero besides Overlord. And it gets ridiculous because not only it takes away the diversity, it basically makes it up to a point where you're just pandering to all the fanboys. Like, this is how much dick riding people do to Overlord. Now think about this. Heroic Evolution and what else was it? Heroic Evolution and Silver Blaze. These two particular sets came out with Blade Master. Let's be real. When it was Blade Master versus the End, Blade Master was overall the better version compared to Dragonic Overlord the End. I remember everybody was talking about, oh, the End is trash. The End sucks. Like, there's no point of really using the End. But you know what happened? Despite that, Dragonic Blade Master was better than Dragonic Overlord at that particular time, people still chose Overlord over Blade Master. Even though Blade Master is the better deck to play in Premium because of restand and vision tokens with with twin drive and whatnot. That was actually a pretty decent thing. It was actually pretty good. I think it's way too busted in my honest opinion though, but I'm not really going to knock it in a way. But still, it's pretty bad. It's retarded, but people will still be like, oh, well, you only have the ability to use the Fee Flare. There's no point in me really using Dragonic Blade Master or anything else like that if I can't use the Fee Flare. Like, come on, man. Like, seriously, why does everybody has to pander towards fucking Overlord? It makes no sense. But then you came out with Silver Blaze, and I will admit, Dragonic Overlord the Cross, very taunting, very interesting. The fact that you're able to restand the Vanguard 3 times and make Dragonic Overlord the End, which was already a bad card, into a better and more worth it card. But at the end of the day, Blade Master was still better. You mean to tell me that you will still go for Dragonic Overlord the Cross even after Dragonic Overlord the Cross was no longer meta? Like, no longer meta, Blade Master was still the better one. There were even tournament results that exist when it was just Overlord in Blade Master, and Blade Master surpassed it. Like, look at, there's like literal Vision tournament tournament list in Japan that basically talks about, yo, like Blade Master is the better version of Overlord, but yet everybody still wants to suck off Overlord. Like, come on. Like, if there's anything Overlord related that I want to hear about, I want to hear about the anime. I want to hear about Ainzon Goons. I want to hear about Shao Tier and everybody else. I want to hear about Dragonic Overlord. Fuck out of here, man. Tired of y'all Kagero players. Y'all like the worst fan base out of anybody in Vanguard. I'm putting that right then here. I don't care if you hate me for it. I don't care if you come after me for it. Y'all like the worst fan base. Period. I know I'm not the only one that thinks this. Y'all the worst fan base. Moving on. Alright, man. I'm talking to all the Narukami players who are looking at this video. I don't know what we did in the OG era Vanguard. I don't know if it was because y'all was just the Kagero's annoying little brother. Maybe it wasn't because you didn't have enough of an identity to really justify not being in Kagero's shadow. Maybe it's just the fact that we didn't give brawlers enough attention. I don't know. Maybe it was the fact that you're one of the very few clans in the game that in the English version they got shafted out of a trial deck. I don't know, man. Maybe it's one of those. Maybe it's something that we're missing. Or how about the G era? Where the G era had Vanquisher. Vanquisher was pretty decent and everything else like that. But he wasn't enough. Because you already know Chrono Jet Supremacy was a thing. Obviously you still couldn't go over Overlord Shadow. That's a little bit understandable. And then of course you have like Link Joker that was doing a thing. Or maybe it was the fact that, you know, Luard existed, or I don't know. Maybe like you had like Vortex, that was a pretty good card, but then you had clans like Great Nature that was able to get through the whole giving your opponent a free damage because they had like a G guard that was allowed to call cards. I don't know what it was in between the OG era Vanguard or the G era Vanguard. But can you guys calm down? Like, can you guys calm down? Like, dude, every single time you guys got support in the V era, it's just nothing but straight up bangers. It's nothing but top tier, you know, content and everything else like that. Every single VR that you've gotten has not been bad. Every single VR you've gotten has been one of the best VRs to ever come out in the whole V series. And it's ridiculous. I don't understand it. Why do you always have to be tier 1 every time you come out with new support? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. What did we do to deserve this? Calm down. Calm down. Like, it's not that serious. It's like, seriously, it's not that serious. It's okay. It's okay. Do you guys want a hug? Do you guys really want a hug? Because I feel like that you have been torturing us with this consistent XL meta, you know, thing that you've been doing ever since you came out in the Miyagi Academy set. Like, you just been doing nothing but torturing every single other clan. Do you guys need a hug? Do you guys really need a hug? Because I feel like you guys really need a hug. It's okay. You don't have to prove yourself anymore. You're legit. You're a legit clan. You're not in Kagero's Overlord. You're not in Overlord Shadow anymore. I mean, you practically make Kagero your bitch now, but you good. You good. Are you good? Do you need a drink? Do you need some wine? Are you guys okay? Are you Narukami players okay? I just want to know that. I just want to ask. I just want to know that we are here. We are here to support you. in these needy times. In these needy times, I don't know, man. Man, you guys are just coming out of nowhere, just like dominating every single format, man. That's ridiculous, man. You didn't need to come out with Gauntlet Buster. Like, I'll be real with you. You need to come out with Gauntlet Buster. You didn't need to dominate the first half of 2020 because of how good Vanquisher is. You need to do all that. It's okay. It's okay. You're legit now. You don't need to you need a shoulder to cry on. Like I'm just asking. If you need a shoulder to cry on. Alright, I'm gonna be real with you. With this particular one, I'm gonna try to be as non-biased as possible because I am partially a Tachikaze player too. So I kind of want to like be non-biased on this. Did I believe Anger Blader needed to get hit in the fashion that he got hit in? Kind of. Like, here's the thing. Did Anger Blader deserve to get hit? Yes. Did he get the hit? Did he need to get hit in the fashion that he got hit in? No. I felt like that the hit was justifiable, but at the same time non-justifiable as well. The justifiable part is because I have a little theory, and I think a lot of people will agree with this, but Anger Blader is the patient zero to OTK format. Like, let's be real. When it came to the V-Series, we've never really seen that many OTK decks until Anger Blader came out. Like, Anger Blader came out, and after Anger Blader, it was like, what? Riviere? And then after Riviere, it was Revron. Then after Revron, it was like, what? It was Kagero with Dragonic Overlord the Cross, and Messiah with whatever the name of the Grade 4 is. I can't think of the name. I'm not going to look it up right now, but you know what I mean. And then you had, like, and then you kind of sort of had, like, I don't think Nyrulz was really considered an OTK deck, but then you had Luard that was there, and then you also had, like, you had Gugrit, and then you kind of sort of had Gavriel. Like, let's be real, most of these OTK decks didn't really start existing until after Anger Blader existed. That's why I kind of believe that he was patient zero. But outside of that, in the fashion that he got hit, where you had to hit Anger Blader to 1 in standard format, I believe that that was an unfair hit for a couple of reasons. One, I will admit, even if I wasn't a Tachikaze player, it was interesting to see Tachikaze be a non-pushover deck, to be an actual threat. It's all like, if you would have told me back in 2016 or 2015 when I was playing Vanguard that Tachikaze would have been a huge enough threat to get hit on the ban list, I would have slapped you and called you crazy. But it happened. And to be fair, history repeats itself. Remember back in 2016 when what was it? When Grand Blue of all like clans became so threatening that it got hit on the ban list, and people even then was like, if you would have told me this back in like 2014 or whatever, like the time Vanguard started, and told me that, not when it started though, but you know what I mean, if you would have told me this like back in 2014, 2015, that Grand Blue of all clans would have been threatening enough to actually get hit on the ban list, I would have slapped you and called you crazy too. But it happened. Tachikaze became legit for like about 4.5 months. Like, and the sad thing is, that was a long 4.5 months. I'm not even gonna lie on that. That was like a long 4.5 months that he was like legitimately legit. And it sucks that he had to get a hit knowing that Tachikaze rarely gets support. that Tachikaze don't even get support until the end of the year. Tachikaze had to go almost 9 whole months without any decent support, with one Anger Blader and basically diverting back to their original VR. There was no other clan that had to do that exact same thing. Not even Murakumo had. It wasn't like Murakumo also got Shiryuki hit. It wasn't like Murakumo was like, yo, we gotta go all the way back to Dragonic. I'm not Dragonic. We have to go all the way back to Dual Dragons because like our other VR isn't really that good. Like, they didn't have to do that. Tachikaze had to do that. And that, in my honest opinion, was really disrespectful. So, I feel like that he kind of deserved to get hit because of how powerful he was. But in the fashion that he got hit, where there was no guarantee that they would get support until later on in the year, I think that was complete and utter BS. And then you had to nerves to bring out the way the Gaia, you know, one of like the most respectable units that every Tachikaze player was waiting to come in standard format. You decide to give him Gaia. You decide to give him that in that particular, you know, form and fashion. It's all like, it's not saying that Gaia was completely bad. I feel like Gaia came out in the wrong era. Like, let's be real, if Gaia and Anger Blader switched, like if Gaia came out in 2019 and Anger Blader came out in 2020, it would have been completely understandable. Gaia would have had a better time surviving in Hyuga format than he would have survived in Luard format. That's true facts. Now, there was some Gaia toppings in Japan, which made a lot of sense. And it was actually pretty interesting to see that Gaia wasn't a completely much of a pushover that everybody was anticipating. Is actually kind of good that wasn't a thing. But still, to come out with something like that after Tachikaze had what was their best format in the 6, 7, 10 years that they have existed in the game, that was mad disrespectful, son. I'm sorry, that was mad disrespectful. Like, it was legitimately one of the first clans in the game. And they have never seen a format like that. Even though it was pretty busted, but still. To do all that only to get disrespectful like that, that was retarded. But man, Anger Blader was good. Giga Rex was somewhat decent. And that upcoming Tachikaze Grade 3, oh my god. That guy is spicy. Like, in my honest opinion, that low-key makes up for Gaia. I'm not even gonna lie on that. That low-key makes up for Gaia. I'm not even gonna lie on that. I can kind of sort of disregard all that, but still, you know what I mean. That was actually pretty good. Alright. Murakumo. Unlike Narukami, we know exactly why you guys are hurting. To the point where you had to come in the V-Series dominating. But you know what? There's a reason I'm actually letting you go and not really treating you the same way I treated Narukami. It's because you destroyed Shadow Paladins as good as you did. Oh my god, think about this. Like, when AO4 first came out, Shadow Paladins was legitimately like that particular deck that everybody was expecting to be the best deck in the format and everything else. I remember when it came to like splits, K-splits, like they were always the most expensive one. They took like 1/4 of the price of like a regular K-split. But then you look at Murakumo, you look at Pale Moon, and they were like two of like the least expensive ones. You know, they were very cheap. I think the first time Murakumo did, I think it was like $50-$60 for like the whole playset of everything. That's not completely bad, dude, but man, the fact that it was like one of the cheapest sets because nobody believed it was going to be as good as it did, only to come out to go toe to toe with OTT, where at that particular time OTT was like the best clan in the format, to go toe to toe with it and to put it down as good as it did with a deck that literally cost $50. Man, I have to give it to you 100%. I have to give you props. I have to give you props, especially seeing that Dual Dragons and Baku wasn't even that good in the original version of Vanguard. It wasn't even that good. But like this one was amazing to a point where you can still even use it in today's format as an anti-meta deck. Man, that's weird. That's weird, man. I'm not even gonna lie, it's weird, but I respect it. I have to 100% respect it. And you saw how good Zimbaku was when he first came out. So then you come out with Violence Deleters, and they're like, oh, Shadow Paladins is going to be in this set, and Link Joker is going to be in this set. That means they're going to be like two of the best clans in the thing. All the other three clans are just going to be cheap as hell. Which exactly, that's what it did. But then Shiryuki came out. And then you also had Zengeki. So now you had Dual Dragons and Baku with Zengeki and Shiryuki. And man, did it dominate again. Link Joker was hardly doing something against it. What was it? It was Shadow Paladins wasn't also doing something with it. And it came in second place. Well, not that particular version, but like the original Wave 1. You know, came in second place in the BCS, in the Bushiroad Championships, at Worlds. You know, it lost to Great Nature, but it was still in second place. And again, if anybody would have ever told me back in 2016 that it would come second place in the BCS twice, might I add you, even had his own format, might I add, I would have slapped you and called you crazy right then and there too. But man, I'm gonna slapping a lot of people and calling them crazy today. But anyway, that's besides the point. You come out with this, they're like the cheapest thing. Shadow Paladins is obviously the cheapest thing, and guess what? Completely demolishes Shadow Paladins and makes them their bitch. Basically, that's how it basically goes. But then you come out with Phantasmal, and the Phantasmal set, oh, once again, Shadow Paladin's the most expensive one. Murakumo is not really like the cheapest one anymore, because now everybody is speculating that it's going to be good regardless. And what happened? Hyuga has his own format. Hyuga has his own format. And that's ridiculous. That's not even ridiculous in my honest opinion. That's amazing. Like, it's interesting again to see something that was getting shafted in one of the earlier versions of the game, only to become one of the most threatening things in the game, man. I'm glad that actually happened. It was actually good to see. I will admit, I didn't really have too much of a good time going against Yuga, because I felt like the counter to Yuga was kind of hard, but still, the fact that it happened, the fact that it exists, it's interesting. I like it. I will even arguably say that Murakumo was the MVP of like the V series in general. I mean, I know it wasn't completely the best deck, but let's be real, it's in the top 3, arguably in the top 3 best clans of the V series. Murakumo's definitely up there. I don't care what anybody says. Even at his lowest point, which was the Yasui support, it was still doing something. It wasn't doing something compared to Night Rose and compared to Shahara though, but it was still doing something. But then you release the ban for Shiryuki, and now Shiryuki with Yasui is a good combination, and is now taking his throne right back. It's taking his throne right back, man. You got to give the props to Murakumo. You got to give the props to him. I feel like that if there was like a comeback, clan of the whole series, it definitely had to be Murakumo, hands down. I don't care what anybody says. So Murakumo, kudos. I give you your props, son. I give you your props. Last but not least, we're gonna end this with Nubatama. Arguably one of my most favorite clans in the game that isn't a Zoo Nation clan. I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. If I wasn't a Mega Colony in a Great Nature main, I would definitely, if those two clans wasn't my flagship, it would definitely be Nubatama. I'm gonna be real with you. If I wasn't a full-blown Mega Colony player, I would be a full-blown Nubatama player, hands down. And I will admit, I feel like that every single thing that Nubatama came out with throughout this whole V series has been one missing piece. I swear to you, they came out with some of the best VRs in the game, and the only reason why they didn't do as good as they were supposed to was because they were always missing that one particular piece. I'll give you a prime example. Jammy Congo, arguably my most favorite VR in the whole V series. If I had to choose any card in the V series, now keep in mind that is over every single VR in Great Nature, over every single VR in Neo Nectar, over every single VR, including Ghidorah in Mega Colony. Jammy Congo is my most favorite VR out of the whole V series, hands down. You know what was that one missing piece that Jammy Congo didn't have? A way to kill your opponent. Like, legitimately, it sucked. You put your opponent you had all these ways to put your opponent at 4 cards during each end phase, but you had no way to kill your opponent. That was, in my honest opinion, the biggest crime that Bushiroad has committed. Even after getting support not once but twice, right after Jammy Congo. There's still no way to kill your opponent off very easily with Jammy Congo. And that makes no sense to me whatsoever. It really doesn't. Because I like Jammy. Like I said, it's my most favorite VR out of this whole series. Hands down. Most favorite. And they didn't do nothing with him. Nothing at all. Over there, Jammy Congo's over there taking the Ned Flanders challenge. Oh, where's my finisher? It's like I have nothing at all. That's basically Jammy Congo in a whole nutshell. I'm mad at that. They could have gave him like some type of finisher, but they were like, oh, you putting your opponent to like 4 cards. That's like more of a finisher than enough. No, it's not. You had no way to do multiple attacks for no apparent reason. You know what his original finisher was? You basically had to be on Jammy Congo this whole time only for you to go into Magatsu Storm. That ain't fair. That ain't fair. Like in real shit, that ain't fair. I mean, it was like, yo, Magatsu Storm was cool. You had Shiranui, that's very good. He has a finisher. It may not be the best finisher, but it's a finisher. When Mitsukage, I would even say that that Nubatama had the best common in the game, arguably the Crow, the one that allows you to force you to bounce back all the cards in your field and force you to discard 5, that is arguably the best common to come out in, you know, the V series as well. So in my eyes, they have the best VR and the best common in the whole game, and yet you didn't really do nothing because guess what? There was no finisher in the game whatsoever. And I know some people are going to be arguing like, well, the Crow technically could have been a finisher to, you know, Jamie Congo. It was actually pretty decent. But like all the way up until the Blue Cavalry set, there was no way for you to really combat somebody who didn't have any rear guards. Now in the Cavalry set, we have I forgot what his name was. The one common that forces your opponent to call a card from your hand. Like now we have that, so then we can use that with the Crow and whatnot. I mean, that's understandable. But at the end of the day, you know, if you don't have that 2 particular combos, you SOL. I'm sorry, but you SOL. And that sucks. But man, Nubatama, I still gotta give it to you. You had probably some of the most interesting mechanics out of this whole game, despite you copying the whole token generic thing. But still, outside of that, you had some pretty decent stuff. I'll give it to you that. Despite that, you didn't really have too much of a focus because it went from bouncing stuff back to your opponent's hand to bouncing stuff back to your own hand to forcing your opponent to discard something to forcing your opponent to discard something again to forcing your opponent to bounce something back from your field to hand to discard something. And now we got the whole domination mass thing. And now we're going back to depending on decoy tokens. Like that's weird in my honest opinion. But outside of that, man, I'm done. I've been talking long enough. I don't want to make another 40-minute-ish video because that wouldn't make any sense. But for now, tune in next week where, if I remember correctly, I'm doing the Dark Zone clans and I'm doing the Star Gate clans all into one. But for now, my name is Z Nation, aka Cyber Charmer Jones and Rafa, signing out.